Hi, how are you doing today? In this session, we are going to discuss about writing about task one of IELTS test. And here we have got an example where we have got the growth trends of urban populations in 6 different countries. Let me just read the question quickly, and then we'll go about discussing the answer. The bar chart below gives information about the percentage of population living in urban areas in different parts of the world. Summarize the information by selecting and recording the main features and make comparisons where relevant. This is the standard statement which you will find in all the questions here. And basically what the question is asking is to make a comparison between the population between populations of different regions. And we are going to discuss about it in a while here. So here there's the passage and we can see that the graph is given where we can just give me 1 minute. The graph is here where we can see the trends of 6 different countries, and then we are supposed to make a comparison of the growth trends in these urban cities of the world. Okay, now the most important thing to note here is about the structuring of information. So how do we structure our answer in such a way that it makes sense to us and it is easy to understand? So if you look at this, uh, the question is about 6 countries as shown here, and it makes all good sense to combine the information in such a way that you can present it in an easy manner. So what I've done is I have clubbed these three regions in one group. Why? Because as you can see, this is the highest and this is the second highest, 90, 89, and 84. So these three numbers seem to be the top ones, the leading numbers as far as the trends are concerned. So I'm looking at the end numbers and figures of the year 2050, which is like so expected. So this is one more point here. It talks about the current year's 1950, which is the past, 2006, which 2007, which might be like the present time, and then 2050, which is the future time. So it makes a comparison between all the three times, and we have to use past tense as well as future tense to depict the trends. So that's one more important point. The second point is like clubbing the information. So what I've done is I've made 3 groups. This is the first group, which is the top group here. Then I have talked about Oceania, which comes next. I mean, I've clubbed the other 3 in one more group. So this whole thing is 2. So this one is, and so this is one group, and Oceania, Africa, and Asia are the 3 other groups. So I made 2 groups here. One is that of North America, which is the top one. As you can see, 1890 here. The second one is Latin America, and the third one is Europe. So this is one group, and the second group comprises of Oceania, then Asia and Africa, Asia and Africa. So this gives me a chance to make 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph is about the larger group, or the one where the numbers are quite higher, 90, 89, 84. And here it is straight away 76. There's a huge gap. So that gives me a chance to put these 3. So this, and this in the second group. So this is another important point. Because once you organize your information in a structured way, once you structure information properly, it becomes easy to write about it. All right. So let's just jump straight into the answer, and we'll also study some important things related to writing the graph. All right, so here we see the answer shown here. Um, okay, so I'll read through it, and I also tell you why is it, I mean, the nuances of the introduction, the trends and other things. The bar graphs depict, so the bar graphs, since it's not just one graph, there are multiple graphs of different cities. So I've written the bar graphs. The bar graphs depict trends of increase in urban population during this period, and the expected rise in this period in 6 regions of the world. So this is how you can write the introduction. So these are the 2 years, and this is the expected rise. So trends of increase in population during this time, and expected rise in this year in the 6 regions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what it is. This stands for good introduction. You can use the introduction given in the question statement itself. You can just remold it or kind of paraphrase it to write your own introduction. The bar graph below gives information about the percentage of population living in urban areas in different parts of the world. So you can just change it. There is no need to waste a lot of time writing introduction. The bar graph below, so the bar chart, you can write the bar graph below gives. So in place of that, you can say depicts information about. So you can talk about it as trends about the percentage of population living in urban areas in 6 different regions of the world. So just change it a little bit. Six different regions of the world. So that is one good way of writing introduction. The bar graph, so instead of chart, you're writing graph. Below depicts trends about trends of percentage, trends of change in the percentage of population, trends of change in the percentage of population living in urban areas in 6 different regions of the world. So you are writing 6 different regions. So basically what I'm saying is to write the introduction, just paraphrase the question statement itself, and that's the easiest and the best way to go about it. You save a lot of time and you go right in the sequence. Okay, now the next thing that you're supposed to do while writing about the graphs is to write about overall picture. Start with the overall picture, one statement which gives the complete picture of the passage. So this stands for, so you can use this kind of structure here. Overall, the region shows rise in urban population with the passage of time. Uh, Overall, all the regions show, so this is something common, all the regions, because all the 6 regions show rise in population uh, with the passage of time, with the most, you can actually remove this, there's no need of saying with the passage, rise in population is enough, rise in population, with the most significant growth trend in North America, Latin America, and Europe. So basically you're talking about the first group, that the most significant one in these 3 regions. So you have given some important information here that all the regions have shown a rise with the most significant rise in this area. Then you say the most important point to note is the growth trend of North America. So this is your first agenda. You're talking about North America first, and this is your topic sentence for the second paragraph, that the most significant or the most important point to note is the growth trend of North America. Look at this, the language is very simple. We are not using any fancy words here. And that's what you're supposed to do. Write it in a very simple and easy to understand manner. The most important point to note is the growth trend of North America. The urban population in that region is the highest of all the regions in all the 3 years shown in the graph. So as you can see, the graph clearly shows that in this area, the urban population was the highest, 64, 79, 80. So none of them were able to touch it. So this is an important point, and we have made that as the second sentence, that the urban population in that region is the highest of all the regions in all the 3 years. So it is highest of all the regions during all the 3 years. So this is important. And yeah, you can make a note of that there. And yeah, so writing it in a very simple manner and telling about the basics. Further, there should be a comma out of after further. Further, it is expected to reach to as high as 60% of the 60% by the year, 90% by the year 30. So this is, you're talking about the future thing. It is expected to reach as high as there's no need to say two. It is expected to reach as high as 90% by this. Latin America closely follows now. So now this is a good transition happening here. From North America, you are transitioning to Latin America by using this statement. So we now talk about Latin America, and we say that it closely follows North America, where the most spectacular growth. Now, about Latin America, also, we are not writing about everything. We are just talking about the most significant thing in Latin America. So, as you can see, this 42 to 76 is a point to note. It's quite a huge jump. So, instead of talking about everything, we can just talk about this particular thing here. Latin America closely follows. So, you are supposed to talk only about the most significant things. Look at the question. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting only the main features. So this is something very important, that you are supposed to talk only about the main features, not about everything, right? So what is the main feature of Latin America? So if I ask you this question, what is the most important thing that you observe here in Latin America? It's about this jump from 42 to 76, which is quite substantial, and you're supposed to write about that. So Latin America closely follows North America, where the most spectacular growth was from 1950 to 2007. Now this is an additional detail. I'll put a comma here because this is, an additional detail given there. North America, Latin America closely follows North America, or closely follows North America, because we're talking about present tense, the thing which is shown in the graph, where the most spectacular growth phase was from 1950 to 2007. It's your choice. Follows is also fine, but then in order to maintain consistency of tense, you can say followed, because we are talking about the past tense here. Latin America closely followed North America, where the most spectacular growth was this phase. So followed would look better because we are talking about something which has happened in the past. The next region in the order was Europe. So now see, this is again third transition happening here. So as you can see, we are not writing too much on each of these regions. We're just writing a little, one or two sentences about each, because there's no space for it, otherwise you will exceed your word limit too much. So, just write about the most significant thing. The next region in the Europe, where urban population is speculated to reach 84% by 2050. So that's what it is. It is expected to reach 84%. Just one line, that it is expected to reach 84% in the region. So, we clubbed these three together because they are the top ones, the highest increase, 89, 90, 89, 84. So we can club them together. And then the next paragraph would be about the other three. So this looks super organized, that you know how to organize information, how to club information, relevant information at one place. So from that perspective, it makes eminent sense to club information in this format. All right, let's look at the next. The next three countries in the order of percentage growth are, this is so this is the topic sentence for the next paragraph. We're talking about the next three countries in the order of percentage growth are Oceania, Asia, and this. Now again, in order to maintain consistency of tense, you can say were also, but then the graph is presented here, so are is also fine. So I would rather are or were both are correct here. However, since it talks about future also, I would rather stick to are, which also considers the future trends. There is a substantial difference in the speculated rise in Oceania. Now see, again, we are getting down to something which is most important. Like for example, here, we are talking about difference. See, look at this. This is again important to understand the question. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting main features and make comparisons, So make comparison. This is important. Look at this. Make comparisons. You are supposed to make comparisons, which means who is bigger than whom is so important. And that's where we are making comparisons here. There is a substantial difference. What do you mean by substantial difference? Isn't it a comparison? You are comparing it with something else, right? So that's why we are saying this. There is a substantial difference in the speculated rise in Oceania, I'm sorry, the correct pronunciation. Oceania is 76, whereas others are 66 and 62. So, if you talk about these three groups, Oceania is uh, hands down the winner. So there is a substantial difference in the speculated rise in Oceania than in other two regions, with Oceania expected to grow to 76 percentage, whereas other two expected to remain below 70%, expected to remain below 70% by 2050. So this is a long sentence, but then it sums up the whole thing that, see, Oceania is the huge, and see, this is just one more sentence in the second paragraph. We are not writing anything else, and that's what it is. You are supposed to be absolutely precise. Don't write about everything. This is one big thing where we go wrong. We try to write about everything. But look at the question. The question very clearly say, it's not saying explain the information. It is telling you to summarize the information, which is so very important to note. You're supposed to summarize the information, not explain or elaborate the information. Summarize means just write it briefly. By selecting and reporting only the main features. So yes, we're supposed to select only the main features, not everything. So this is something very important. And that's what we're doing here. And then at the end, in case you have, like, for example, if I look at this, as you can see, it is 201 words already. So that's why I put this in bracket. In case you need to, then only you should write this conclusion. I'll put it in red because this is not something which is very necessary. So in nutshell, huge variations. I think this color is so offensive. I'll make it a little lighter. Fine, this go well. So fine. So this you will write only in case required. So I'll just put a little space here. So in case you need to write, then only you write this. Otherwise, no need to write this one. I'll put it in italics so that this is what, because there's no need to write conclusion in case, the last statement, it's not a conclusion though. Summary of it in case the whole thing is already, like for example, up till this line, I can see I'm already touching around 181 words, which is way beyond 150 words. So why should you write it unless it is something substantial? Yeah, so you can take a call. In nutshell, huge variations are expected in the trends of population growth in the 6 regions shown in the graph. So this is a very good way of presenting information on these kind of graphs. Now I'll just compare this with one more answer. Let me just copy it here. And so one more answer is here, and we can make comparisons with that answer. And you would be able to see how you can make information. So this is one more answer which has some flaws in organization and usages. So we'll try to see how this one is written. So this is one of the answers of the participants, and you can make comparisons with that. Okay, the bar charts illustrate variations in the proportion of urban areas population. Urban areas population. There's no need to say urban areas population. Simply saying urban population would be enough. Of different regions across the globe in the year 1950, this. Okay, so urban areas population, you can simply say urban population. In the question also, they are not saying urban area, population living in urban area. So, okay. So urban area urban population is enough. There's no need to say urban areas population. Urban population itself is fine. So in paraphrase, there is a little mistake there in the introduction. Now, when we go further, overall the bar chart shows a rising trend in the percentage of population who is living in cities. So population who is living in cities. There's no need to say who is. You can simply say population living in cities in 6 different parts around the world throughout the period. There's no need to repeat this throughout the period. 6 different parts. Further, North America. Now see, we are losing somewhere. Further North America, now further, we are expanding an idea, but then further does not look good here. Compare it with the way the first answer is drafted. So overall, all the regions show rise in population. And the beauty of this answer, as we discussed earlier, is organizing the information properly. You know, like the way we combined these three and the other three. So there were two paragraphs which combined the whole stuff. But here, there is no such bifurcation or division of uh, the information. So it is very important to find out a trend and divide it properly. So we are not able to, so as you look at this, the most important point to note is the growth trend of North America. So we started with North America in the topic sentence, which means the reader would straight away look at North America. Okay, this guy is talking about North America. So that looks like a clear agenda. And the urban so one line about it, then Latin America and one line about it, then Europe and one line about it. So it's a very clear way of expressing information in an easy way. And then the other paragraph also where we are talking about the other three regions and just writing the basic stuff related to it. But if you look at this, relating to the information becomes a little difficult here. So when you read, a further point to note is that North America, now again we are coming back to North America. We did talk about North America here also, but then why are we repeating it? Overall, this was this, and North America is spoken about here also, North America comes here also. So it becomes a little repetitious and a little less organized where you may lose marks. So it's very important that you present information in proper order. Okay, follow a decreasing order, which makes a lot of sense. And of course, finding which one to take is a little. So this is the skill that you have to develop. Like which numbers you want to take. Usually, you should take the last numbers. Like for example, here it is a very clear trend is there: 890, 89, 84. 76, 66, and 62. So you can arrange these countries, these regions in this order. So you can talk about North America, where the speculated increase is the highest. Then Latin America, where, and just talk about one thing about each of them. Like for example, for Latin America, we just talked about this difference, and for Europe, nothing but this is the highest. There was a consistent growth, and by this it was expected to reach here. So like this. So I would like you to read this answer also and see how the information is arranged here. In case you want to, you can read it here. That will give you an idea of the information is a little scattered. So in task one, it is very important to know how you structure your information properly and use proper verbiage to explain it. So I think that's the crux of it. Just to summarize the important point very quickly, the question says summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features. So this is super important that you pay attention to summarize the information, not explain the information. Only select the main features, and of course making comparisons. So as compared to this, then that, those kind of words are super important as shown here. A good way to develop your skill is to use some sample answers. Like this is a very good answer drafted there. You can use the same answer to practice writing about these kind of graphs. So you can take this as a sample, write it down using the same structure. And once you know how to draft it, you can practice other graphs of the similar type. So yeah, you can then go for other bar graphs itself. Once you're done with bar graphs, you can go for pie charts and other types of graphs. So all the best to you. I hope this was useful. Thank you so much.